Hello, I'm Craig Brailsford, and welcome to another episode of Small Stocks, Big Money. For those of you new to the show, RedChip is an investor relations, media, and research firm focused on emerging growth companies. Our unique platform combines global multimedia with traditional investor relations, reaching investors around the world. Now, today's show features interviews with executives of two public companies. First up is WisdomTree. WisdomTree is a global financial innovator, offering a diverse suite of exchange-traded products, models, and solutions, private market investments, and digital asset-related products. WisdomTree's offerings empower investors to shape their financial future and equip financial professionals to grow their businesses. We'll learn more when we speak with the Global Chief Investment Officer later in the show. Up next is Clinch Resources. Clinch Resources is a metallurgical mining company with corporate office in Knoxville, Tennessee, and operations in West Virginia. Clinch Resources supplies high-quality coking coal to steel-based manufacturing facilities for critical global infrastructure. We'll learn more when we speak with the CFO later in the show. Before we move forward, let's take a look at RedChat, a revolutionary AI chatbot for small-cap stock analysis.
A new era of small-cap research has arrived with RedChip's RedChat, the fastest, most accurate AI assistant for small caps. The days of spending hours sifting through press releases, 10Ks, 10Qs, 8Ks, 13Fs, 13Gs, and other filings is over. Now, get answers in seconds on 4,000 small-cap stocks in one portal. Simple, fast, accurate, detailed answers. Meet small caps with RedChat.
RedChip is a proud sponsor of the SPAC Conference, June 9th and 10th, 2026 at Westchester Country Club, New York. Register now to engage with the industry's leading minds and influential players across the SPAC ecosystem. 2 full days of live company presentations, roundtables, networking, and market insights. Meet the RedChip team at the 2026 SPAC Conference to discover tomorrow's blue chips today.
Now, let's move on to our quote of the week. It comes from the book, Small Stocks, Big Money. Invest in something you can get your arms around and be very conservative. Own enough stocks so that you are not putting all your eggs in one basket. This quote comes from Dave Maley of Ariel Discovery Fund, and it is featured in Chapter 5 of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book of exclusive interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Get a digital copy on Amazon today for just $21. Now, let's get started with our first interview today with WisdomTree. Hello, today we have Jeremy Schwartz, the Global Chief Investment Officer of WisdomTree Incorporated, trading on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker WT. Jeremy, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. You joined WisdomTree in its early days and have helped build it into a global asset manager. What have been the key milestones in that journey, and how has your role evolved along the way?
Yeah, I joined as a fresh grad, and so I've been with Jonathan Steinberg, our CEO, for over 20 years. I'm his second longest employee at the firm. I was working with Jeremy Siegel from the Wharton School. He's got a book, Stocks for the Long Run. The professor and I have been together for 25 years, and I joined Siegel, invested in the firm, joined as an economist, and I wrote their first white paper, launching 20 funds in June of 2006. We're going to have our 20-year anniversary this year. Those 20 funds today have about $25 billion in revenue, $100 million of run rate revenue from that $25 billion in assets. But today as a firm, we have $165 billion in assets. So you can see we've gone way beyond those first 20 ideas. And now really a global asset manager, US, Europe. I'm sitting in Paris with our European team. We've got $40 billion in commodities. And we've done a bunch of interesting acquisitions. Just recently, we did an interesting acquisition over here in Europe. But it's been a very great place, really an incredible place to build a career, going from a grad to now the global CIO of the organization.
WisdomTree launched more than 30 strategies last year across themes such as defense, rare earths, and nuclear energy. How do you separate durable megatrends from short-term hype?
Well, I love that you use the term megatrend. And we have a flagship megatrend index that we launched in Europe. And that has sort of four high-level categorizations from technology shifts, geopolitics, demographics and social trends, and the energy and critical resources demand. And that flagship fund has 50 sub-themes we're watching. And because of that, we look at where's the gap between our themes and what is in the market. That led us to looking at geopolitics, led us to look at defense. And that today, just launched 13 months ago, is now a $5 billion ETF because we saw defense was a key topic. There was no European-only focused defense stocks in the market. But that framework of mapping the 50 themes, tracking every ETF, and then seeing where's their gap in the marketplace is how we do it. Sometimes you have to be early. Like today, we launched quantum computing last year. It's early in the phase, but now 200 million in our US and UCIT. And if you wait till the technology is proven in that case, you're too late. If you have a ChatGPT moment for quantum, you're late. So we have to be early sometimes, but our framework lets us identify those opportunities.
Let's talk about your US-based minerals ETF. What structural forces made now the right time to launch this product?
Yeah, we launched it in Europe 2 years ago. Ticker in Europe is rare. It's our second fastest growing ETF this year. It's now over $1 billion. And we saw that demand. You see everything happening around the world, from the need on defense, the geopolitics, the AI, electrification. Everything needs these minerals. And so we saw what's happening out of Europe. That's one of our spirits, is having global synergies across the business. But the geopolitics of the moment say this is a great ETF for the future. And we're using a capital efficient framework to add metals on top of the miners. So it's really the best of a lot of what we're doing. And we think it's going to be a great ETF.
Jeremy, WisdomTree delivered $8.5 billion in net inflows and about 8% organic growth in 2025. That's well ahead of its peers. What specifically is driving your outperformance?
I'd say just consistent execution. I mean, it's really blocking and tackling of the business. One of the things we've been investing in is solutions even beyond ETFs. We made an investment in a direct indexing firm last year. That is starting to show promise. We've been doing model portfolios, what we call shared CIO model portfolios. So we have about $6 billion in that business, and that's leading to much steadier, longer term flow. Sort of doing holistic portfolio solutions, not just product sales. But being in the right place at the right time, like that European defense ETF we talked about, that was a leader last year. And we continue to look for the right themes, but also steady long-term great investment ideas.
How do you position WisdomTree against giants like BlackRock and Vanguard? What's your durable edge?
When our CEO started the business, he had a really unique model. The original name was Index Development Partners, and he was competing with S&P and MSCI, but he discovered ETFs. He said, I want to package these together. And we were the first firm to really do that. We had to get special exemptive relief to do that in 2006. But because of that model, we have conviction and passion about our ideas. A lot of the other main players are licensing other people's indexes. Ours are our own IP. And that conviction leads to strength. When you think about these big organizations, they might have a lot of resources, but they also have a lot more bureaucracy that could slow them down. And so we're hungry, we're fast, very entrepreneurial, founder-led, and we're often first to market because our more nimbleness and smaller team actually drives that speed to market.
How are you positioning portfolios for a world of uncertainty and geopolitical fragmentation?
I'd argue WisdomTree is like the strongest position asset manager for that world in this environment. We've been diversifying the business over the years. Of that 165 billion we had today, 40 billion is in commodities. What has been prime front and center of all this geopolitical conflict, from Russia to the Strait of Hormuz closure, commodities has been front and center, and we're the leader in most of the commodities. Just in the last few weeks, we saw $1 billion come into agriculture, spin off of the fears on the fertilizer prices. But broader, we've been investing in things like that defense. We launched a European and Japan opportunities portfolio that has geopolitics in mind. So we have a real broad suite of geopolitical aware model portfolios, individual funds, and the commodities business gives us a strong resilience to all this geopolitics.
From an investor's perspective, Jeremy, what would success look like for WisdomTree over the next 3 to 5 years?
I describe WisdomTree as a secular growth stock, but at a value multiple. So, there's a real divergence between our growth rates and our multiple. We've been growing earnings the last 2 to 3 years, 50% a year. If you go back over 5 years, 30% a year, but we're still at well below market multiples. And so, I think there's an opportunity in that divergence between growth and value. Our margins have gone up from 20% 5 years ago to 40s today. Incremental margins, 50%. Again, we've been diversifying the business. We haven't talked about some of the initiatives beyond ETFs, but we're doing things in private markets. We acquired a farmland business, which is very interesting. We just acquired this derivatives manager out of London, so we're going to do a lot more options-oriented solutions. But I think the steady, consistent growth at good margins is that opportunity. Our CEO has said we'll do more buybacks for the next 5 years than the last 5 years. And so there's if there's an inflection in the multiple combined with this steady growth, that's a very nice, rewarding thing for shareholders.
Jeremy, thanks for being with us today.
It was a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Now, to get more information on WisdomTree, visit WisdomTree.com. You can subscribe to email alerts there to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at redchip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like WisdomTree. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies. And you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. In addition to our newsletter, you can also order your copy of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book written by RedChip CEO, featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Order your copy on Amazon today for just $21. Before we move forward, let's take a look at RedChat, a revolutionary AI chatbot for small cap stock analysis.
A new era of small cap research has arrived with RedChip's RedChat, the fastest, most accurate AI assistant for small caps. The days of spending hours sifting through press releases, 10Ks, 10Qs, 8Ks, 13Fs, 13Gs, and other filings is over. Now, get answers in seconds on 4,000 small cap stocks in one portal. Simple, fast, accurate, detailed answers. Meet small caps with RedChat.
RedChip is a proud sponsor of the SPAC Conference, June 9th and 10th, 2026 at Westchester Country Club, New York. Register now to engage with the industry's leading minds and influential players across the SPAC ecosystem. 2 full days of live company presentations, roundtables, networking, and market insights. Meet the RedChip team at the 2026 SPAC Conference to discover tomorrow's blue chips today.
Now, let's move on to our next interview today with Clinch Resources. Hello, today we have Brett Young, the Chief Financial Officer of Clinch Resources. Brett, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
For investors just discovering Clinch Resources, how would you describe the company's transformation from a development stage story into a near-term cash-flowing producer?
Yes, we've spent the last 10 years and over $100 million of CapEx investing into our primary assets and developing over 110 million tons of high-quality metallurgical coal for the global steel markets. We are right at the cusp of production. We'll be one of the lowest cost producers in the United States, and it's a very strong market for metallurgical coal, and we'd encourage all investors to take a look at the space and do some research on us.
Brett, met coal, recently designated a U.S. critical mineral. Now, how does that shift the strategic importance of your business and potentially enhance long-term demand visibility?
Yes, it was recently added metallurgical coal to the 60 critical mineral lists put out by the USGS and the DOE. It's critically important for us to get the visibility on our projects to allow us to continue to permit our projects in a very efficient manner with government agencies. It also allows us to access very large pools of federal money to support our projects with grants and loan programs.
You're targeting initial production this year, 2026, from fully permitted assets. How significant is that milestone in terms of de-risking the story for investors?
We spent the last 10 years putting these assets together, and the last piece is to go into production. Our surface production mine, a high quality mid-vol mine, will be in production very shortly. Unlike oil and gas companies, coal companies only get strong valuations with production. We don't get much credit from the street on our reserve base. So it's critical for us to improve our enterprise value and market cap by getting production and demonstrating production to the marketplace.
Now you're scaling toward production. Okay, what does the business look like from a cash flow perspective in a constructive pricing environment?
With the current forwards at $225 per metric ton for metallurgical coal, we'll be producing, close to 2 million tons of production within 12 to 18 months. And that production profile will generate tremendous strong cash flow with our low cost production profile in the hundreds of millions of dollars of EBITDA.
And just how big is the market opportunity you're addressing?
The global seaborne marketplace is a little over 300 million tons a year globally, and that is the international export market. That market is forecasted to be undersupplied by 50 million metric tons by 2028. That would take 20 companies of our size to meet that demand. So, as you know, mining projects are very long lead times, and so we believe the market will be undersupplied in the near term.
Right, let's turn now to the leadership team. It has a track record of building and exiting coal companies. How does that experience shape your approach to scaling Clinch and, of course, creating shareholder value?
Yes, our founder and CEO, John Nix, has had two previous successful public coal companies in the marketplace. This is by far the largest reserve base and the best reserve base in metallurgical coal and mid-vol coal for the global steel market that he's put together. And we're very excited about it. A lot of time, effort, and capital has been spent putting these assets together, and we're finally bringing it online. And we're very excited about that. My background, I've been in natural resources for over 30 years. I started my career on Wall Street covering energy, natural resources, metals and mining. I've been in metals and mining companies, and what really sets us apart is that not only do we have the coal backgrounds, but we also come from the steel industry, the ferroalloy global industry, and it really sets us apart in terms of how we look at and view the marketplace.
Absolutely. Final question, Brett. What is the essential value proposition? Why should investors take an interest in Clinch right now?
We'll be one of the lowest cost producers in the world on metallurgical coal. Long-term, metallurgical coal will be undersupplied, as I spoke about earlier, through 2028 and even on beyond. We plan to be very generous with our shareholders with the cash distribution program and dividend program, and we'll be very active in the marketplace promoting the stock right now. The valuations are very low because we are pre-production right now. And I would encourage investors to do a little bit of research and take the time if they're looking at the space at the value proposition our stock brings to their portfolios.
Brett, great to meet you. Great to hear the story. Clinch definitely has a great met coal story.
Excellent. We do have a great met coal story. The future is very bright. We're very excited, and thanks for having us today.
Now, to get more information on Clinch Resources, visit clchinfo.com. You'll see research reports, fact sheets, presentations, and the latest videos. It's all free, and you can even subscribe to email alerts to stay on top of the latest news. You can also call 1-800-RedChip to speak to a specialist if you have any questions. We also have a free weekly newsletter you can subscribe to at RedChip.com, featuring emerging growth companies like Clinch Resources. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies. And you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, visit redchip.com and subscribe today. In addition to our newsletter, you can also order your copy of Small Stocks, Big Money, a book written by RedChip's CEO, featuring interviews with some of the biggest players in the microcap space. Order your copy on Amazon today for just $21. Now, let's recap the companies featured today. First, you met WisdomTree, WT on the New York Stock Exchange. WisdomTree is a global financial innovator, offering a diverse suite of exchange-traded products, models, and solutions, private market investments, and digital asset-related products. WisdomTree's offerings empower investors to shape their financial future and equip financial professionals to grow their business. Learn more at WisdomTree.com. Then, you met Clinch Resources, CLCH, on the Toronto Stock Exchange. Clinch Resources is a metallurgical mining company with a corporate office in Knoxville, Tennessee, and operations in West Virginia. Clinch Resources supplies high-quality coking coal to steel-based manufacturing facilities for critical global infrastructure. Learn more at clchinfo.com. Don't forget to check out our stocks page. It is the biggest small-cap stock portal in the industry. It has every company listed on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange with market caps of $2 billion and less. And it's categorized by industry. Watch this show again and explore hundreds of small-cap stock videos on RedChip's YouTube channel. And be sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter and learn about a lot of small-cap companies. Also, go to our website and sign up on our events page for the webinar series. We have webinars every week, several a week, in which we feature small public companies, mostly our client companies. And you'll hear straight from the CEO, and you'll be able to ask questions after that. Again, if you have any questions about any of our public companies featured on today's show, call us at 1-800-RedChip or email us at info@redchip.com. In closing, remember, while small caps can provide significant gains, you must be prepared for the downside. Small cap stocks are among the most volatile of asset classes. Some of the companies featured on this show are RedChip client companies, and we may own stock in these companies. So please, always read our disclosures at redchip.com. Thanks for being with us today. We'll see you next week with some new, exciting, emerging growth companies.
RedChip. We build investor audiences for small cap companies, retail and institutional. 33 years, thousands of clients. We are experts in messaging. National TV ad campaigns, investor webinars, digital media, reaching hundreds of thousands of investors. RedChip. We do it well, we do it right, we do it big. RedChip. Call us or email us today. RedChip is a proud sponsor of the SPAC Conference, June 9th and 10th, 2026 at Westchester Country Club, New York. Register now to engage with the industry's leading minds and influential players across the SPAC ecosystem. 2 full days of live company presentations, roundtables, networking, and market insights. Meet the RedChip team at the 2026 SPAC Conference to discover tomorrow's blue chips today.
Hello, folks. My name is Brandon Robinson. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Horizon Aircraft. We trade on the NASDAQ under the ticker symbol HOVR, which I think is one of the coolest ticker symbols for a company that's building a vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. So essentially a better, faster, safer version of a helicopter that can take off and land without any sort of infrastructure required whatsoever, fly forward using proprietary technology that transforms the wing. So it's a helicopter that flies just like a normal airplane for 98% of the time, and then can land just like a helicopter anywhere you need to go. So think helicopter that is cheaper, about twice as fast, much safer. It can fly in any sort of weather conditions. So that's a pretty significant operational advantage for this exciting new advanced air mobility space. We've got a lot of exciting things coming up. So we have proven our technology at a large scale prototype level, and we are building a full scale aircraft. So in the next 9 to 12 months, a lot of really impressive and meaningful technical milestones upcoming for anyone interested in the company. And I said in 12 months, we should have a full scale aircraft rolling out of the hangar to be tested. So pretty exciting times for our company, pretty exciting times for this space. So for anyone that's interested in following what we're doing, we're really active on YouTube, where you can go and meet the team and see the technology that's working in real time today, which is pretty exciting. You can follow us on X at Horizon Aircraft. I'm really active on LinkedIn as well. So if anyone wants to reach out to connect, they can do so. And our website is horizonaircraft.com. So thanks, folks.